Hi there Simmers, welcome to my town. This is Joy's Creative Finger and today I'll be taking you on a tour of my detached townhouse. Now I've had this property in this place for a while, but I've gone ahead and fixed it up and put some ideas into it that I felt satisfied with before sharing it with you all. Now it's got a garage to the side of it, has a narrow front, which is usually a camouflage to the design of this type of property. You don't realize how large the property is until you look at it long ways. Now I've built it on a standard lot. I think that was sufficient enough for its grounds, and I feel that putting it on a premium plot would be excessive. The owner of this property has done some DIY work to the back of the garage, turning it into a lovely garden bar facing a pool, but he has also maintained the appearance of functional use to the garage to the front part of it. Normally we, for some of us anyway, park our cars out front and we use our sheds for different things. In this case, I think he's done a great job to turn it into something really useful. The last thing I did on this house was this balcony work. And the pink tree that you see in front here, it weren't originally there, even in the tour of this building. Nathan Stokes owns this property. He is the owner of the local car dealership in Simstown. He's a wonderful doting father to little Amelia. She is the apple of his eye, not the only apple of his eye. He is indeed married to, in his opinion, the most beautiful woman in the world. They were married once upon a time in Simstown, in an island far, far away, with the ocean as a backdrop. They had a wonderful gala dinner reception, a kiss on the pier of Santa Fe, and they also rented out the most expensive wedding suite in the town where they vacationed for their honeymoon. Now he's going to take us on a tour of his house, so let's go ahead and have a look. Now we can have a look at this garage from the inside. It's empty, there's no car parked in there because he does a lot of work in here. The sink that you see behind is what he sort of uses to service the bar out front, even though it has its own sink. But I suppose that's where he would store all kinds of things and wash up and clean up after he possibly had entertained his friends out by the pool. Now, if we go back into the property, you can see from the inside that there is a split space between this tiny garage and the actual property. Now, I've blocked it all around using these plants and foliage so that there is no other way to get in and out but through those doors, and so it's blocked front and back by those plants. So the only way in from the shed is either through those doors into the dining section or from the double front doors out front. So let's go ahead and have a look at the living space. It's an open plan space. The Victorian archway sort of windows are brown and match the Scandinavian dining table and center table. It's quite a lengthy room, so there's a lot of space, and it's easy to move to and fro from the different sections. There's a feature wall in the corner over here, and it has the same sort of brown beigey aspects and features in them that match the windows and the Victorian archways. Using feature walls in properties is a very common interior design method, and they're mostly used in the focal point, so where your television is or your stereo, where you stare at the most. It's best to have a feature wall there, and so my staircase has helped me out by picking up on that wallpaper. Then through this little corridor here, we have the guest powder room, which also has the door leading to the garage and the staircase going upstairs, and the kitchen to the back of the property situated here. Now, there is a lot of memories between the stove and the dining room. The lady of the house never ceases to prepare wholesome, homemade, nutritious meals for her family, which she completely adores. And of course, in return, her husband, who's a great team player, would always do the dishes and let her get on with the rest of her day, or indeed even put her feet up. It's a very large, sizable kitchen, enough to cater for a growing family. This is an overview of the entire ground floor. I like to do overviews. I like the viewers to have a chance to see how it all looks together as one piece. Next, we're going to go up to the second floor. This floor takes us to the floor where we have just 2 bedrooms, a family bathroom, and of course the storage cupboard where we have the water boiler. So when you come up the staircase, you come through a little nook and out into a long corridor with a bathroom on the far end and 2 rooms on the other side of the building, across the way from the staircase sort of location. We have their daughter's room, Amelia, who's asleep at the moment. Of course, it's befitting to create a sort of a gingerbread wonderland for her. So I've decorated it in this way, and it's quite suitable for someone of her age who's a toddler. It's a sizable room and it's very close to the bathroom for her personal needs. Further down the hall is a guest room for, say, an aunt and a grandma, a friend, whoever it may be that would be staying over at their home. There's a nice closet space in the corner there, and of course I've tried to practice around with these rugs from the spa update once again to create the illusion of larger tiles. Instead of 1x1 tiles, they look like 4x4 tiles. So yes, I'm still practicing around with that idea. This corridor has a lot of light that comes into it, and on this end, as mentioned before, we have the boiler room where the father of the house would get tinkering away when they had some trouble with the hot water. There are always toys scattered around, and you can see that there is sort of a toys box in that closet space. But because they have a young kid in the property and other kids, and I'll explain that later, you will find in homes toys scattered around, and no matter how much you try to tidy them up, they always seem to appear again here and there. I say it's a home well lived in. I mean, it's quite difficult to be house proud when you've got young kids. I think they should be left to have some kind of freedom. This is the master bedroom at the top of the property, and I've gone for the Scandinavian textures available in the game, and I think it's very beautiful. It's very colorful, very patterned, and yet pulls together as one look. There is a large bathroom, and there are 2 sinks for him and for her, a large tub, and a room further in with use for private functions. This unit here with the towels look like the place you would keep the dangerous chemicals and creams and stuff away from kids. Now, this corridor leads round to the nursery area. Now, Mrs. Stocks is a very, very hands-on mother. She is someone who has a fantastic green thumb. She looks after all the beautiful gardening work you've seen around the building. She cleans the pool. She has the time to look after all these kids because she's had a career change after having a little child. She's become a nanny. She still has the time to look after her young one and her husband. She still makes the time and makes it a point to give her own daughter Amelia a bath every single night. talk to her, engage with her, and put her in bed just in time with a lovely bedtime story. Having done that, she still gets to look after a number of kids upstairs for other working mothers. So she's a professional nanny and a licensed one at that. Now, previously in this property, this space was a seating room beside the master room. That's why structurally there's a lot of windows around this space. There's a large window out front here. She opens that up and she tends to these beautiful plants. So yes, it was meant to be a large seating room. Why is it looking like this? Well, it's become her nursery, and as I mentioned before, she's a professional nanny. But previously, she had her daughter Amelia. They changed this room into her nursery, and so they could attend to her, between their room and hers quite easily. When she turned 3, of course, they relocated her downstairs. It's not a far distance from their room. You just pop down the stairs and there she is in the next room. So obviously there's been a career change, and she's had to find new ways to make money, and so she's become a nanny. And so now that her daughter is down here, she has kept the room with the same, child features, as it were, and she looks after all these kids, as you can see. In time, when little Amelia grows up, she would be able to return to full-time work, but in the interim, she has to be a nanny as a source of income. So that's the last floor of the building. I always say you can go ahead and replicate the design. Builds are not a very easy video to do, but I do them for most of the videos that seem to gain popularity, and also when their requests are made for builds. So I will look into doing a build if there is any interest at all. There is an old saying that you can copy the design of a property, but you can't replicate the lives that have been lived within its architecture. Food for thought. Thank you so much for watching. A thumbs up would be great if you do like the video. Leave a comment, and a subscription would be very useful for upcoming uploads. Thank you so much for watching. Have a lovely day.